While watching the news, you've probably heard that our government is carrying out a war against drug dealers, or a very recent case, there was a shooting or even tsunami on the US stock market. But you probably never thought that this actually reflects the way we think and how our population is structured. Our modern society is driven by competition, challenge, and rivalry, and hence such expressions show exactly who we are, what we care about, and what plays the most significant role in our lives. But this does not apply to all communities. Vietnamese language, for instance, is more focused on hierarchy and social structure, and there are specific words and suffixes that are adequate while addressing to elder people or younger or the same age that the person speaking. My friend, who was raised bilingual and speaks both Vietnamese and Polish, is superior to his younger brother when they use Vietnamese, and they are equal when they use Polish. That's why my friend's brother always wants to speak Polish, and my friend always wants to use Vietnamese so as to give him orders more easily. But at the same time, my friend uses Polish while arguing with his parents, as it is more convenient and efficient to do so in this language. Another example that comes from my French-Polish friend shows us an emotional aspect of language. As her mother is Polish and she speaks this language, my friend attaches greater feelings to this language, whereas French, her official language, she first associates with politics and school. So probably she wouldn't be able to discuss the main causes of financial crisis in Polish, but she would do so perfectly in French. And last example that comes from my Russian-Polish bilingual friend, she noticed that Polish language somehow forces people to respect others because there's a third person form, and hence it is more indirect. And Russian, on the other hand, is more direct, and it doesn't force speakers to be so much respectful. So my little research has led us to the main term of today's speech, which is language relativity. And this issue was already investigated by several scientists. And one of the experiments involved 3 color cards like this: red, blue, and green. Probably those of you speaking Polish or English won't have any difficulties telling the difference between the colors of these cards, but please consider the Zuni, the language of Zuni tribe. This tribe lives on the border of Arizona and New Mexico in the United States, and their language does not distinguish between green and blue color, so that's why they failed to succeed in this experiment. And getting back to Vietnamese again, in this language there is also only one expression, xan, meaning both blue and green, and when you want to specify you mean either blue or green, you have to say that you mean the color of leaf, xan the color of leaf, or xan the color of sky. But let's move on to more down-to-earth examples, which are numbers. And you probably know what 45 or 73 is, and how to multiply 7 by 47. And you probably noticed that our world cannot imagine existing without numbers. Just bring back this very current economic situation. But of course, there are some people for whom numbers are not as important as for us. And let's consider the Piraha tribe, and according to Gordon's research, which was actually considered somehow controversial, language of Piraha tribe has 3 expressions for so-called numbers, standing for roughly 1, roughly 2, and many, and numerous exercises that he conducted in order to test the influence of language have revealed their incapability to distinguish between the number of objects they were shown. So their first task involved a table like this. And the experimenter placed a couple of objects on the one side of the table, and the Piraha person's task was to place the same amount of objects on his side, like this. And this task seems to be pretty easy, and in fact it was even easy for them, as in 75% of cases they succeeded in placing 4 to 8 batteries. But please bear in mind that they do not know any number above 2. But please don't think that they were treated preferentially, as they were not. The next task involved a pile of nuts and a basket. The Piraha person was allowed to look at the pile of nuts just for a few moments, and then all objects were placed in the basket. Then the experimenter was taking each nut separately, and every time he asked the representative of Piraha tribe to state whether or not this was the original amount of objects. And in this case, it is easy to guess that their level of accuracy was much lower comparing to the previous task. It was about 50% or even below 50%. But our world does not consist of numbers only, obviously. And art has also influenced our civilization for a very long time. Please have a look at these 2 paintings portraying death. Would you be able to say what languages the authors of these works speak just by looking at the appearance of death? Probably yes. And you probably never thought that gender of noun also influences our perception of the world. And in German, for instance, death, der Tod, is masculine, whereas in Polish, ta śmierć takes on a feminine connotation. So now you probably, it's easier to guess which work was created by whom. And of course, the painting on your left-hand side was created by a Polish artist, Jacek Malczewski, and the painting on your right-hand side was created by Hans Baldung, German artist. So, please use your language cautiously, as the person sitting just next to you may perceive our world in a completely different way than you. Thank you.